These are the tools you will need to move forward. Make sure that your scraper has teeth. You're going to need a form. There's either plastic ones or paper ones. You can make your form, you can add on to your forms to make them be bigger with newspaper and tape. This is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's kind of hard for you to see. But it's really up to you, and it depends on what kind of mask that you're making. You also need to have water by you and, of course, your clay. So when we first did our slab roll, I didn't have you cover it, but from now on you are going to cover your clay with a moist paper towel, not wet. You don't need it to be too wet. Every time that we're done with our clay, we're going to make sure that we cover it. So you'll see that in the end, but just know that that's going to change. So now we're going to manipulate the form and try to get it to cover our mask. At this point, you need to know if you're going to do a full mask or a half mask. Some of you are adding on. That's okay. You need the base form first. So that's what this video is for. So you're going to easily know to take off the excess. And of course, you saw that I cut the clay in half first. When you push on the sides and it pops out, that means we need to take off a little clay. So you take out a triangle, you scratch both sides, add water, and then you basically smush the clay. So now you can see that it did go back together, and I'm just going to cut just a little bit off. And I'll show you on the bottom. I'm going to press on the sides, and you'll see you have this big bump of clay. So you can cut a triangle two ways, just a regular triangle or just right there. I cut the middle and then cut the sides. So you scratch both sides, you add water, and then you start blending. Blending is just pushing the clay so that you seal the seam. Now it's easy to see how much I want to cut off. You're always going to try to do 2 passes to try to get the clay to come off. This is a rough base, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, 2 passes. And I forgot to tell you to put some newspaper underneath the mold. It was having a little trouble, it's kind of loose. So I just kind of stuffed it so that the pressure, there was something to push against. So when I added pressure, it would hold itself. So again, I'm just doing a basic trim. I am gonna have a full face. So I'm pressing in to kind of see where things are going to go. It's not going to be, I'm going to add on to this. It won't be exactly like this, but I'm just kind of pressing and making sure that the form is tight enough. And that's it. So make sure that you squeeze your extra clay. You're going to put a little water with it and just kind of squeeze it. You're going to be using this clay, so you want to make sure you really take care of it and it doesn't get too dry. You're going to soak a paper towel, wring it out so that it's not dripping with water. Make sure that you're always putting your knife away with the cork. And now you're going to cover the rest of your clay, again, wringing out the paper towels so that it's not dripping wet. Here's the thing. If your clay is too wet, your clay is gonna break down on you. If it's too dry, you're gonna have a hard time because it's going the opposite way. It's way, way, way too dry. So the best thing to do is just make sure that you have a paper towel and everything is covered. Put it back in the bag. Make sure the ends are sealed and that you have your name, and that would be the end of the base mask.